Discord to give us a call. We're actually going to open up the show with a call from he's a first-time caller, apparently from Taiwan, so he stayed up super late to give us a call here on the show. So let's hear it from Zio Sarup on Tonberry. What's going on, Zio?
Hello, everybody.
Thanks for giving us a call here on Limit Break Radio and for staying up late to listen to the show. What's up?
Thanks for having me. So I'm not going to talk about FemFest because I don't give a shit about it.
That's right. Yeah, you're nowhere in the FanFest area. That's right. So anyway, what you want to talk about today?
So you've been talking about World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy 14 in the recent episodes.
Yeah. Speak up a little bit. It's a little bit tough to hear you.
I want to give you my experience with it because last year I was working 12 hours a day plus my commute. 14 hours a day I was outside of the house.
Oh my!
I
wow.
was playing 14. I played for a lot of 14 from patch 3.2 till the start of Stormblood. A couple of months into Stormblood, maybe one actually. And the fact is, I had very little time to play, so 14 was the perfect game for me to play. This year, I got half a day, so I was home at the normal time, like at 4 p.m., 5 p.m., and I went back to World of Warcraft. I played World of Warcraft for like 10 years.
Okay.
What I want to talk about is the fact that I think you misunderstand when you talk about 14, the point that Yoshida tried to make once when he said, play other games.
Okay.
I think that's the reason that is true. Like 14 is a game that is good to play if you have very little time. I couldn't play WoW when I was doing 14 hours a day because I didn't have the time reasonably to do anything in the game. 14 I could, and I could do everything between the period in Heavensward. I got to level every single class, including gatherers and crafters, to max. I went up to A12 Savage. I cleared everything, and I was having a ton of fun. As soon as I had time, I kept playing 14 for a month. Start of Stormblood, I arrived at the Azure Steppes. Few quests in, when they start doing the Makora, what the fuck, I screamed at my screen. I was like, why am so bored? I couldn't play for so long. This is a game you can't play for a long period of time. And I think we have a bad view of it because in the past, 11 was a game you could play all and all and all.
Sure.
But actually, 14 gives you time to play other games. You play Watch Leader 14 and you play other games. Like, I can now play fighting games. I go crazy for fighting games. There are so many good fighting games.
Right.
Sorry, there's Norris here. I would nerd about it with Norris. But yes, that's my whole thing.
Okay, so I think that this is an interesting note to start the show off on because, you know, I do think that there has been some intentional design to make the time sink that you need to be able to play FF14 more, you know, reasonable, right? Like, no one needs the FF11 leveling dichotomy.
And we've had multiple
where you spend, you know, the better part of months and months and months leveling up to get to cap. Here's one of the things though, is that this is still though a fundamentally an MMO, and an MMO that has a subscription cost. So I want more time spent doing things in FF14. I do think that you bring up a great point, that FF14 is not a game that is really meant to be played in long fits and spurts,
We've
right?
had multiple casual players say this game is perfect for what they want.
Exactly. And that's fine. I'm not begrudging anyone of any of that. However, when you contrast that against the way that other MMOs express their value, you know, that's one of the things that I'm so struck by in ESO, where I'm not even maybe a quarter of the way through the total leveling system that brings you up to, what is it, champion level 750 or whatever
I think
it is.
That's the cap, yeah.
Right? So I'm barely even a chunk into that, but I'm able to experience a ton of that game, and it compels me to want to log in and want to play it out of enthusiasm, as opposed to FF14 that seems to, like, most of the driving emotion to logging into 14 is out of guilt these days.
Well,
but a lot of that is like, if I don't log in, I miss out on my tone cap for the week. I miss out on getting my drop for the week.
Your tones?
No, but if what else are you supposed to be compelled by at this point? Like, if the compelling thing that I get out of MMOs is improving my character over a long period and having an interesting world that character can inhabit and become a part of. And it just seems like FF14 is so good at funneling the players into specific systems that it wants you to go to at different points. We've even felt that when we were funneled back into old, fates and old zones that weren't,
through
being
the old
used
relic quests.
through relic quests and stuff like that. Now they've built an entirely separate zone to be able to kind of house that part of the game. And to me, it ends up at the end of the day feeling incredibly disjointed as an MMO experience. And that is, I think, incredibly problematic, because it doesn't, when I say, the rewards are not good enough, what I'm saying is that FF14 is not doing a good enough job to motivate me as a player to want to do any of these things. And that, that's just my opinion, and that may just be what it is. But when you look at the population of FF14, the amount of people logging in, and the massive population fall off that happens 2 weeks outside of a patch, that tells me that I'm not crazy in experiencing that emotion or that drag on enthusiasm, because it seems like the majority of the player base is also doing the exact same thing. And like Zio had said, playing other games. That's fine. But if I'm buying an MMO at a, what was it, $60 price tag when it had first launched, and then every expansion has been $40, and I'm paying $12 a month on top of it. If I'm investing in a game on that level financially, then I want it to be enough of a commitment where I feel like I can't play ESO at the same time. Not other, first-person shooters or other stuff like that, but I'm a one MMO man, okay? I want to only play one MMO because that's all I feel like I have room in my brain for.
Now,
getting an extremely gay vibe.
To be fair, going back to Zio's original point too, because I completely agree with you. If that's the game they're making, which is a casual MMO experience, maybe that game just isn't for us.
And that's fine. But you know what? If it's a casual MMO experience, then drop the sub.
Yes, if that's what you're doing, it needs to reflect that. But the fact that they do try to put content in there for a hardcore crowd, the fact that they're charging you $14.99 a month, and they want you back monthly based on the fact that they are spreading out all of their content, single drips of content, to make sure that you're coming back every single month.
Yeah.
I should not be getting less content and casual content for the exact same price that World of Warcraft is charging for considerably more stuff. Even and don't say, well, they can't be done. That can't be done, because Elder Scrolls gives me way more stuff than Final Fantasy XIV ever did, and they don't charge a subscription. And if you just happen to want to actually pay them for what they have, they actually give you money to spend in the cash shop.
Yeah.
Like, especially after playing ESO, the way that they're conducting Final Fantasy XIV isn't in line with, well, this is a perfect casual game. People who enjoy it, that's great. If you're the casual person, we had a bunch of people last week who were like, this game is perfect for like what me and my wife need. That is absolutely cool. And if it was free to play, I think that it would be perfectly lined up, and I would honestly have no complaints with how Square Enix was conducting themselves at this point. But the way that they, oh my God, I just realized we don't have a cash shop announcement today.
Oh, thank God.
That's ridiculous.
I know, right?
But the
it
way
must be an eat on odd numbered week.
But just the way that they conduct themselves, just a lot of it just doesn't doesn't vibe with me as a consumer.
Does that make sense, Zio?
So, yes, I think the same thing. My idea is, for the population, I can talk because I was on the JP servers. As JP servers have population all the time.
Yeah, the Japanese...
They don't have World of Warcraft.
Right,
But
yeah, the Japanese servers are massively different when it comes to core population, population drifts and dips. But, you know, just coming from a North American player, I can't tell you how, you know, often I run around Ralger's Reach and I go, where is everyone? Right? Like, or where I'll be running around Kugane and go, where is everyone? I mean, granted, now they're all hanging out next to Heaven on High and Ruby Sea, but even previous to that, it was like, dude, I don't even know that there are people playing this game. As an MMO player, as a new MMO player, if I logged in and I saw that, I would think that, you know, the 3 starting cities are like newbie zones. You know what I mean? Like, and that's not what they are. That's not how the world should be designed. And I think that when you do use that design as sort of the overworld as your leveling platform, then, you know, you really end up choking the potential out of what you can do with the world that's supposed to feel alive and breathing.
You made basically the same point I wanted to make. The question I think we should ask is, I don't like the free-to-play idea because free-to-play means shit, but is the game worth this high of a subscription? Like, if the subscription was $5 instead, wouldn't it be better?
I mean, that's a step in the right direction, but
I think Square Enix needs to decide what their end goal is, because I've actually never thought about this before, and this is actually like making me stop and be like, oh, well, yeah, okay, so Elder Scrolls and World of Warcraft are charging the same price and giving more content. So then Square Enix needs to stop and think for a second. Do they want to provide us with that level of content? Are they going to use our subscription that we're currently paying at the same tier as other MMOs to provide that level of content? They need to make that choice, because if they're not, and their goal is to just provide a casual MMO for casual content, I think they could and should reduce the sub.
I agree. I mean, reducing the sub or making it optional, much in the way that ESO does, I think is a really smart idea. Because if you can make the player see the value in investing in your game, then I think you've done much more than Square Enix has been doing to try to drive the sentiment of FF14
Perfect
up.
example. After my first night of playing ESO, because you had bought it for me, so I didn't have to put any money down on that. I was essentially playing this game 100% for free.
Right.
And after, like, you know, 2-3 hours of playing it, when I realized, wow, I can't fit all this stuff in my bag, I need that bottomless crafting bag that comes with the $15.
Yeah.
I started looking into the ESO Plus benefits, and they're like, when you sub for a month, like every month that you're subbed, you actually get 1,500 crown, which is essentially the currency that you use in the store, to then use in the store.
Right.
So I'm like, so I'm going to give you my 15-month sub, and then you're going to give me $15 to spend in the store?
Because they don't, I mean, like
they're essentially paying you to sub, and at that point too, I had kind of felt like what you've shown me so far is worth at least $15. I want to give you money because what you've done is worth money.
What they have essentially done is they have given you $30 in digital goods, which cost them nothing. Nothing. Fucking all of this cash shop shit that Square Enix keeps shoveling into their fucking cash shop costs nothing for them to make. And Bethesda, God bless them, understands that. And they go, okay, well, if you're giving me $15 of real, honest-to-God money that you earned at your fucking job, then we're going to give you $30 of digital value.
Oh, and on top of that, you also get access to all the DLC.
Yeah,
too.
it's actually way more than that because of the DLC access. But when you strip it away and you go, oh, you get the bottomless crafting bag, which feels like that's the $15 investment right there. And you also get 1,500 crowns to spend any way you want them. Again, that's double the value. That's literally $30 in value, but you're buying digital goods. It means nothing to Bethesda. Why would anyone not? Like, that's one of the most brilliant in-game subscription systems that I've seen in a long time. And Zio, I do think that you bring up a good point. That is what we are paying now worth what we're getting in content? And I would say definitively no. It hasn't been for a while, at least in all of Stormblood. Maybe for half of Heavensward it hasn't been. Anything to...
Totally agree.
What was that, Zio? Sorry.
Totally agree. So, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, thank you for the call. We appreciate it. Getting the show started off right
for a long time.
Oh man, well we are really happy that we could take your call, and I know that it's super late and that you've stayed up super late to be able to give us a call.
I don't have to work finally for the first time in 2 years on a Monday, so
that's wow, excellent. Yeah. Zio, thank you so much for listening to Limit Break Radio, for giving us a call, and for giving us your perspective on what we may have missed about FF14. And I do think you're right that fundamentally FF14 isn't a game that's built to be played logging in every day for 8 hours a day. And I think that dichotomy in all of MMOs is kind of gone, and it probably is for the better, right? Like, I don't think that a MMO that forces you or needs you to be logged in for 4 to 6 hours every single day, that's not sustainable. It's fundamentally unsustainable. And I think that you raise some really good points about the value of what we get out of our subs. So again, I really appreciate your call today.
Appreciate being here. Thank you very much, guys.
All right. Thanks, man. So if you want to call Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. And, if you want to comment about, the value of the subscription, we'll walk down that road with you. It is something that I think is important, and especially we've all kind of identified the way that the content has felt like it's substantially dipped, and I think that you can quantifiably say that it's dipped, especially since A Realm Reborn.
Oh, easily.
And where do we go from here? What's the path forward? What is Square Enix going to do? If they keep adding stuff to the cash shop, then should the game go free to play? Should it drop the sub by half? What do you think? Give us a call. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715. All right. With that said, let's finally, I guess, get into some FF14 news.
This is a Limit Breaking News Update.